So, Mark, did you see that giant dust storm at the Luxor? I know it happened about like a week ago or something, and the pool area, all the furniture kind of got lifted up. It seemed like kind of what happened at Circa a while back, but I'm surprised nobody got hurt. It's a crazy sight to see.
Yeah, I would call it more like a mini tornado. Like they all spin up and get railed. One guy's just sitting in a chair and he gets hit by like two day beds and stuff. It's just kind of crazy. I guess you can't really like the day might be windy, but you can't plan for a tornado so much. But it's crazy how much stuff flies in Vegas and how windy it gets.
Yeah, have you ever driven through like one of our dust storms when it happens? To your point, it's just like a tornado. Like you get the twister action and dirt everywhere you can't see, and the wind can be incredible. I've driven through a couple of them, and it seems exactly like what hit at Luxor. Desert
Sounds like
problems.
Sounds like a place you probably shouldn't live. Like a zombie apocalypse.
We have a lot to talk about. Let's start with this crazy active shooter thing that happened over the weekend. I don't know if you saw videos of this, but at MGM Grand, someone threw a rock at a window, I guess, near the Valet, which is, not even right on the strip, right? The MGM Grand Valet is off of Tropicana Boulevard. And then what happened was just crazy. Like all throughout the strip, people thought there was an active shooter. I saw video as far away as like the World Series of Poker, people like hiding under poker tables and chips everywhere. I heard it got even further north than that. There were several casinos on lockdown. So basically, this loud noise happens, and then everybody just gets afraid, and then rumors start spreading, and before you know it, everybody thinks there's an active shooter on the strip. Insane, I think.
Yeah, it's insane how quickly it spreads. Like I could see at the property where the rock gets thrown, and maybe the person didn't see a rock, and they hear a bang, and they see the glass break, and natural thought these days is active shooter, and it just goes to show like how susceptible we are to these things right now. Like just everybody's going to think that that's what's going on. But then the fact that it spread throughout all these other casinos to areas that weren't even near it, like how does it spread that quickly? And maybe they put systems together after what happened a few years ago that they can spread it to other security quickly. But yeah, it's just nuts to see people like fleeing out of rooms and stuff. And I don't blame them. When a security guard comes in and says we have an active shooter, you're going to go kind of crazy. But it is insane to see how quickly it spread across the entire strip.
Yeah, it's traumatizing too, right? To think you're in the middle of that. So heart goes out to anybody who really, was traumatized by that. It still boggles my mind. The performance of Mad Apple at New York, people ran across there, ran into the theater saying that there was an active shooter, so they had to stop the show. I talked about the World Series of Poker. A lot of gamblers saying that they lost money. I did like those videos and pictures of the World Series of Poker. There were chips everywhere. People had tipped over tables. So that's another aspect of this, like in Las Vegas, is when this happens, they do try to use surveillance to get people back to their money. They tend to lock down the machines as soon as that sort of stuff happens, so people can't play credits or cash them out. So there are systems in place for that, but no doubt people lost their money. And I agree with you, like they need some sort of a system to quickly help people understand that there isn't a scenario. I know police officers say that pretty quickly they were letting people know that there was no active shooter, and they put it out on social media and stuff. But that doesn't change.
I'm not checking Twitter when I'm worried about a shooter. Like, let me go to the cops' Twitter account and see what the Las Vegas police is doing.
Yeah.
But no, like, imagine somebody just walking through the casino, hitting cash out on all the machines and grabbing like a handful of chips. I'm sure somebody made out off of it. Like, I know they can shut it down or whatever, but somebody made some money off of that whole thing, and it's kind of crazy to think. So maybe that becomes a thing, like the new Ocean's 15 is they call in like a false report of something, like a bomb threat, and then just go through and cash out all the machines. I don't know. Where they didn't have to evacuate people? Chris Angel's Theater.
Yeah. Hey, I saw the tickets. I was going to put it in the rundown, but then I was like, I don't want to put some Chris Angel thing in here to ruin your ability to make that joke. But the tickets were 50% off, so they're already heavily discounted. So I think.
Do you think the person that threw the rock was mad about parking fees or what? Oh, more on that later. No, just kidding.
No, that was last time. All right, so let's pivot to brighter things. Reve. well, I guess this isn't brighter. If you liked Reve, it's kind of sad that Reve closed with COVID, and then Wynn announced that it's not coming back. They haven't said a whole lot about what's going to replace it, although we know there's heavy construction going on in the theater. And there was briefly, for a small moment of time, a leak of a video inside the theater. You can't really tell much is going on there, but I guess it's fun to see that one of our favorite shows is getting replaced by something, at least progress on that front.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite show in Vegas, and it's sad that they're not at least doing, it doesn't seem like from that video and what we've heard that they're doing anything water-based. So, you spend all that time and money building that deep tank, which I know your dad was a part of, and that's, kind of a soft spot for you guys too. But to have that already there, like, you think you'd make something out of it. So I don't know, knowing when it will be something great, but the fact that it's not water is always going to be a sad spot for me for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to learn more. I mean, even if it's not water, hopefully it's something spectacular. It is Wynn. This is going to be their flagship show, and it's 2022, right? This is a chance for them to build something that's of the next generation that pushes Vegas theater shows down to the future. I don't know that like Mad Apple does that. It's a neat show, it seems like, but it doesn't seem like it pushes things forward. Where I hope with this replacement for Reve we'll get something spectacular, but who knows? Wynn is a corporate entity as well, so maybe it would have been nice to see the water for sure. All right, so some hotel news. The Atari Hotel that nobody thought was actually going to happen. In fact, I was going back through the articles. It was announced, I think, in 2020 with a 2022 opening, which obviously didn't happen. But according to Las Vegas Locally on Twitter, it is officially canceled now. I thought this property looked kind of cool because it had that the hotel tower was shaped like the Atari A, and it was going to have like a retro gaming vibe, things like that. But I'm not surprised it's canceled. It didn't seem like it was ever really going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I went to their website. It just seems like they're trying to sell merch or something. I don't know. It's very weird, but I did like the design, and I think like a retro gaming theme thing could be really cool and something that, an area of Vegas that's not really tapped into that could draw people in. So I think somebody should do it. Maybe they'll do it on that one dirt patch where they have one truck moving dirt around for a future on the Wet and Wild area on the future stadium. They can put something there. But no, I think it would have been really cool. Of course, it was never going to happen, but it would have been something that I would have checked out for sure.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a lot of dream projects right now. We'll see what makes it through the recession and what doesn't. What seems like it's making it through, or at least has made it through a ton of hurdles, is the Dream Hotel on South Las Vegas Boulevard. We've talked about it before. They got approval from the FAA. For a long time, they were going back and forth because they had balconies facing the airport, and they had to get rid of that, put bulletproof glass. They finally got the whole design approved by the FAA and the county and everything else. They finally broken ground in the last week, so that hotel seems like it's going to happen. It's got, I think, 500 rooms, a small casino. It is right next to the Pinball Hall of Fame, but basically across from like Mandalay Bay, or very near to the Las Vegas sign, actually. So it's good to see this. I mean, this is a full ground up, brand new hotel and casino on Las Vegas Boulevard, and one that I feel like doesn't get talked all that much. We also got some new looks at the concept art, which it looks very sort of chic, high-end, modern. I like it, so I'm excited for this project.
Yeah, and to have like fresh blood and something that's not one of the big corporations, it's good to see. And hopefully, it all works out the way that they plan and the vision they have. And that's what we've seen with a couple of the recent launches is there's not a set vision throughout the whole property. And with this being a little bit smaller, it should be easier to do. So I'm excited to check it out too. And then hopefully bring some traffic to the Pinball Hall of Fame, which is an awesome place. And that south end of the strip, which hasn't gotten a lot of love lately.
Yeah, and as they describe it, it's going to open in late 2024. 531 rooms, 7 original dining and nightlife options, including a third-level resort pool and day club, of course. 2 bar and lounge concepts on the gaming floor. A lobby bar. There you go. Of course, what Vegas casino doesn't have pee water? And then a gelateria and craft coffee cafe with a sporting club, a boutique nightclub. I mean, this is a small plot of land. I guess it's going to be very vertically integrated, so you're going to have different levels of stuff. But they're packing a lot into a small property, still with that boutique size, though. I think the casino will be roughly about the same size as Cromwell, to kind of put it in perspective. So maybe we're gonna get that kind of Cromwell-y experience that you like in a much newer, more modern hotel. So yeah, I feel like they're moving into the market with some uniqueness.
Now, that area of the airport, is there any takeoff and landings that you could watch? Like that they could have a cool club at the top called like the takeoff or something, where they could really integrate it? I think that would be cool for aviation people.
So when they made them like do the design differently, basically everything faces Las Vegas Boulevard, nothing faces the airport. So you're not going to get really many views at all. Originally, I think the pool overlooked the airport. I mean, obviously there will be rooms that will overlook the airport. Hopefully some of the rooms will have nice views. And yeah, there are some planes that take off in that area. A lot of the helicopters take off there. The Janet planes, those secret government planes, take off there. Some of the other private planes and stuff like that. So that's, yeah, definitely be some interesting plane spotting if you get a room with a view.
Yeah, too bad they can't integrate it a little bit more. It would have been cool, especially like a pool area and stuff, which I get outdoors, but you think you could put, if you use the right kind of glass, you could put some type of bar restaurant overlooking that area with, good view. I mean, Mandalay Bay has open areas around that, not too much further off from where it would be. So I think it should be okay, but sometimes you just can't do what you want to do.
Yeah, I think Mandalay Bay is the reason, right, that they're doing all this because of October 1st, and I feel like they're overly cautious, and they want to make sure that they can't do it. But whatever it is, it's going to be good, and looking forward to it based on the concept art. All right, so here is this week's edition of What Will They Charge For Next? This is the Flamingo edition. Flamingo Sportsbook. Now, Flamingo,
it's not a sportsbook. It's so horrible.
It's a small area of the casino. It looks like they installed new seats there. I don't know.
Ooh.
They look, but anyway, there's a sign there where you can reserve seating now and pay to sit in the Flamingo Sportsbook. My guess is these fees will go elsewhere. We have seen places like Circa charge during high demand events, and other books have done it too. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. But Flamingo.
What are they? I mean, I don't even think they have flat screen TVs in the sports book at Flamingo. Like, it's still the old tube TVs that are like 22 inches or whatever. I don't get this. Like, okay, Circa places like that, or a football, and I think this will probably just be like college football, NFL. I don't think they're going to be charging people to sit to watch baseball and stuff, but why would anybody want to sit there? It's just like 10 rows of seats in a little cove. It's not even like its own room. The TVs are old and busted. It's not nice. There's no like food service. The drink service is almost non-existent. Like, why wouldn't you just go to the bar right across from the sports book? I don't know. If they're still giving you free drink vouchers, you might as well just make your bets and go somewhere else. But I've always been the one that if a sportsbook's going to charge me, I'm just going to go to a bar or restaurant and hang out there instead.
What's sad to me is we could almost do a story like this every week. It seems like we do, but we really don't, because there's a lot that we don't even talk about. But it just seems like every week we could do another fee, another nonsense thing. I mean, God, it's insane. What's even more insane is you go into the comments and how many people are upset with their trips to Vegas. It blows my mind that nobody is picking up on the fact that maybe they're pushing things too far. But maybe to their point, they're not pushing things too far if the market is bearing it, but it's insane.
Yeah, but they're still getting like those people that haven't been in a couple years or want to go for the first time. So they're getting those people. That's going to run out in the next year or so, as people feel more comfortable traveling and hopefully airfare prices come down. Like, and you're putting a bad taste in their mouth that they're not going to be coming back. These are people that have come back, gone every year for 10 years. And now they're like, I'm going to take like a 3-year break and see if things change. So they're getting all that demand, the pent-up demand. It's kind of like when a new stadium opens. People go, even if the team's terrible, for the first year just to check it out. But after that, if you don't have a good team, they're not going to show up. So that's kind of where we're at with Vegas, I think.
Well, they're going to have to attract a lot of first-timers, which will bring us into our next story, which is Vice's guide to Vegas the first time. And I actually went into it thinking that it was going to be terrible, but I feel like they got some good advice in there. So we'll talk about that. I did want to remind everybody out there, we did get some crazy news last week that 3 Vegas casinos, the Fiesta Henderson, Fiesta Rancho, and Texas Station, they've all been closed since March of 2020 with COVID. They're all going to be demolished with the land sold off. And it's a really sad thing. I did a whole video about it, kind of talking about the history of those properties, giving you looks at them throughout COVID with their boarded up windows and doors. and I highly recommend that. It's on the channel if you wanted to see it. But Mark didn't get to visit any of these properties, so I guess it doesn't mean anything to you. I have so many memories from all three.
And they were all profitable, right? Before COVID?
I believe so. I mean, the neighborhoods had changed a little bit. Stations owned other properties around them, so that made it a little bit more difficult. They said that they were able to move 90% of their patrons to other properties that they own, and so they became very redundant. And they certainly were the oldest, kind of worst kept up properties in the arsenal.
Yeah, that makes sense then. If you didn't really lose your customer base and they're going to the other newer properties, then I could see why they were doing it. And this was probably like a 2-year test run where they're like, okay, well, we close these down, but our numbers are the same as essentially when we were running, these extra casinos. So makes sense. I'm just surprised somebody else wouldn't come in and try to do something with it versus knocking it down. But hey, that's the life. That's the world we're in right now.
So if you want to see the history of those properties, check out that video along with all the news and everything else. I do think the reason that they don't want to sell it to another operator and that they want to tear down these buildings and sell the land themselves is because I think they don't want a casino on those properties. They don't want somebody else to compete with them. They want to turn it into housing or whatever it's going to be. But my guess is there'll be a deed restriction keeping it from ever being a casino again. But we'll learn more as that goes on. But let's talk
condos.
Yes, more condos, just what we need. All right, let's talk about Vice's first time guide to Vegas. Did you like it? I mean, they go through like 15, 16 points, talking about whether you should walk the strip. There's some good advice about getting snacks and stuff at CVS, asking, your Uber Lyft driver to stop at a gas station to pick up snacks too if you're off the strip. Tipping, obviously talks about tipping culture. What do you think?
Yeah, and I've always been a big proponent of tipping. Service isn't quite as good as it was before, so I probably don't tip as well in Vegas as I used to just because people are kind of rude and you wait forever. So that is what it is. But I thought some of it was interesting. Some of it's just kind of common sense that you can do anywhere. CVS is a really good one, especially we've talked about what they charge in room for waters and stuff, and there's a CVS on like every corner, it seems like. And I know our buddy Rick, every time he flies in, he always has them stop at a party store or something on the way to the hotel, just adds it in the Uber app, which is a great way to, have some stuff at your room that you can grab. And because open consumer laws or open beverage everywhere in Vegas pretty much, so you can bring it from your room down to the casino or to the restaurant stuff. Like you can go anywhere with it. So it's a good way to save some money. The act like you belong there, that works pretty much anywhere, not just Vegas, which you can really, some crazy things can happen if you just kind of pretend like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah, this is what it says. It says, when you're out and about at night, become the BSer. Cut the line, lie about being on the list, and fake out indignantly, leaving when none of the above work. Once we huffily turned to go when we were denied entrance to a mega club, they let us in instantly. I agree with you, like, social engineering, but if you huff away from a club, I don't think you're going to get let in.
Well, no, I got a little side story of like I snuck into a concert at Little Caesars Arena around here, which is a big arena for like the Red Wings and Pistons and stuff. And they have, because they have attached bars and restaurants. So if you walk from the arena to the bar restaurant, they stamp your hand with like a circle. They don't even ask for a ticket. You just show them your stamp. So I saw these people's stamps. So I started rubbing their stamp on my hand. That I got like a faint stamp, and I just walked in and went like this, and nobody said anything. And then when I came back and I was leaving, they're like, "Sir, wait." And I was like, "Oh, they busted me. Like they caught me on tape or something." She's like, "You need a stamp before you go in there." And she stamped my hand again, so I had a fresh stamp. So I could go in and out of the concert as much as I wanted. It was just, it's crazy. But that's the stuff that will happen if you just kind of act like you belong. And if they say no, you go to the next one. Like you'll get in at some point.
Yeah, it really is about your game, right? And how comfortable you are. And if you look nervous or, if you look unfun, they don't want unfun people there. If you look like, you talk the language, you look like you belong, to your point. If you're going to a nightclub and you've never been to one before and you're nervous and you're acting off, you're going to stand out. Whereas if you're used to it, the game, just try. And like you said, it never hurts. What's the worst they're going to do? Say no. And then you just go on to the next one. Good advice.
Look up like the manager's name before you go and be like, "Oh, I'm going to have to call John."
There you go. Oh, don't call John. No, yeah, it'll work sometimes. I mean, I have seen plenty of huffy people get denied at nightclub doors by those bouncers. They don't mess around. Vegas bouncers are like, they're like world class bouncers, right? They're like the cream of the crop of bouncers. They make tons of money. They're serious about their job, and they keep out the riffraff. So that's I don't know. You like bouncer? You have any Vegas bouncer stories? I feel like you should have.
No, all mine are like strip club bouncer stories.
All right, I did want to talk about something food related on this show, and that's this quesadilla challenge that I came across. So it's $60 for this quesadilla, and basically what they do is they create like this lasagna where it's like this giant tortilla and then a layer of meat and then giant and cheese, giant tortilla, layer of meat, a different kind of meat and cheese. So you end up with like 5 different kinds of meat and cheese stacked on top of each other. Then they cut it. It's probably something good to share, right? That's an incredible amount of calories and stuff like that. But they have this challenge where if you eat the whole thing, you get it for free. Plus, they pay you a little money, I think. But
yeah,
so
$100, I think.
It is $100. So when they started this challenge, they only gave people 10 minutes to do it, and then of course nobody could pass that. So now they've upped it to 20 minutes. But like I feel like I know people who could eat this easily in 45 minutes or an hour, but 20 minutes to stuff what's essentially 5 full-size quesadillas full of meat and cheese is a little ridiculous. Although it looks kind of cool. It looks like it would be a delicious sort of appetizer to share with a bunch of people. I don't know.
I don't know how you eat it and not get like sloppy, disgusting everywhere. I mean, it's like that's big. It's like a huge piece of cake, but it's quesadilla, and it just flops over. So I don't know. Like I'm sure people enjoy it, and yeah, I don't see how anybody does it in 20 minutes. I don't know that I could even eat it if you gave me like 2 days because it's a lot of food. But if you like quesadillas and you have a group of like 4 people, I think it'd be kind of a cool experience for sure.
Although it's a little bit of a scam, right, Mark? Because like all of a sudden they throw this $60 quesadilla on the menu as an eating challenge that nobody can pass, and so now they're selling tons of $60 quesadillas. I'm sure. So smart on them for that.
Well, I mean, it's not like you don't get to take it home if you don't eat it, so they're still getting the food. But I'm sure, yeah. What's a quesadilla cost? Like maybe it cost them like $10 to make that. I don't know.
I mean, there was a decent amount of meat, but yeah. I mean, other than the meat, there's really, cheese and tortillas, so not all that expensive. All right, so one last story I did want to sneak in here. There have been a few different times, apparently over the last couple months, at Paris, Las Vegas, where somebody has lost a valet ticket and then their car was stolen. I never thought about this before, right? But they don't really check for ID and stuff like that. So I guess the moral of the story is if you're in Vegas, safeguard your valet ticket, because if somebody finds it, there's a chance they could just walk right up, hand the valet that ticket, and then walk away with your car.
See, that takes more stones than getting into a club when you're not on the list. But yeah, I mean, anywhere you go, and that's not just Vegas. Nobody ever checks your ID. Like, if you have the ticket, you get the car. That's just how it works. I mean, if you're at a smaller hotel, they might remember car to face and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's the way it goes. They're upset that Paris hasn't done more about this. But, like, really, what do you expect? Like, don't lose your ticket, I guess. I don't...
Yeah, I guess. I mean, safeguard your ticket. Maybe take a picture of it, too, so that if you lose it right away, you can report it lost. And I don't know.
It's crazy that the one said they saw like a woman get into her car and drive away, or his car. I'm not sure if it was a man or woman, but like, wouldn't you be like, whoa, stop her? Well, who has a ticket? Like, no, you're just like, oh, I think that was my car. Oh, that's my license plate. Oh, well, like, go jump in front of it.
Like a scene where like security was restraining the lady as she tries to run after her own vehicle, and they're like, no, you didn't have the ticket. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I try to always put it somewhere safe. When I get one, not like just in my pocket, because when you take stuff out of your pocket, you can get rid of it. But I never really thought about that. How easy it was to do that. I have to imagine like this has got to be a scam that people do all the time. And then they found
somebody just like walk around. Does somebody just walk around looking for valet tickets? I mean, like, what are the chances?
I don't know. They found the car weeks later though, with like different license plates in it, and it was trashed and stuff like that. So somebody changed the license plate, did a joyride, and then dumped it. It's sad to see, but always be careful out there.
I don't get that either. Like, if you're going to steal a car, go sell it. Get it stripped or whatever. Like, if you're stealing a car just to drive around for 10 days, what's the point? Like, the risk, the juice isn't worth the squeeze there. I don't know. I was expecting these to be, like, chopped chopped up cars or something like that. But I don't know. If you have multiple license plates, what are you doing? Robbing banks, and that's what you're using it for? Then I could see it, I guess. Has there been a lot of bank robberies in Nevada the last couple weeks?
No, I don't think so. So, I don't know. Well, there was a lot to talk about this week, so definitely hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think about any of these stories, the craziness with the mass shooter scare, quesadilla challenge, anything else in between, that dream hotel. You guys think it's going to be a good addition to the Strip? Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. We are here every single week doing this with some more videos like that closed casino one coming soon. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
See you next week.